Welcome back in. When it comes to listening to music, which format is best? Well, for me, it's my old-fashioned iPod. I have an iPod.
I still have mine too, and I do love that.
Yeah.
But there are people who swear by vinyl still. I still have many of my vinyl albums and records. Others, though, streaming formats like lossless. So which is best?
All right, for the answer on Music Monday, we turn to our own music expert, longtime DJ, Tony Kurre. Good to have you with us.
Unfortunately, I've been able to play all of it. Your iPod came out in 2001, by the way.
Oh.
It seems like it's been a lot
Well,
longer.
in fact, I think producer Jeremy's got some dates on some of the things you have displayed here on the set.
He does. As a matter of fact, it was 76 years ago last Monday, and I was supposed to come on, but Mother Nature didn't want me to. But
Okay.
76 years ago last Monday that the first 45 came out. It was
Is that right?
It was Texarkana from a song from Eddie Arnold. And it came out on 45. And
George Strait also
so I started, and I was talking to Josh Claypo's daughter, Adair, she's 23, and she's like, what's a 45? And I'm like, you know what, this would be kind of fun. This is Sonny James when something is wrong with my baby. That's a 45, it's 7.5 inches, or 7 inches.
Those
It's a
were so
45.
great.
So what came out right before the 45 in 1948 was the 33 and a third.
And we should explain, though, the 45 is the speed that it plays on the phonograph.
RPMs, repetitions per minute. This is the 33 and a third. This is from Joe Rummore's personal
I never
collection.
had one of those.
I've never seen one this big. You have to find a turntable that will play it. But they came out in 1948.
Hold it
the
up
problem
this
is
way
a
so you
lot
can
of,
see how big it is.
and typically a 33 and a thirds, about maybe half that size. But the problem was that when they came out with 33 and a thirds in 1948, there was nothing to play them on. So they had all these albums coming out, and there was nothing to play them on, so they decided, and then they went in and did that. So then in 1963, we had this thing called the cassette tape. This is Anne Murray Greatest Hits selection right here. That came out. That was fantastic. And
I got to be honest, I didn't know cassette tapes were around that long.
I didn't know they came out in the 60s.
I thought the progression was 8-track, then cassette.
No, actually it was cassettes, and then 8-track came out a year later.
Interesting.
And this is, the only difference was this is one spool, and it uses 8 different tracks. It reads 2 tracks at a time, so it's got stereo.
And if you hit a bump, people tell me from that generation that it would bump tracks.
Yeah, what people don't realize is you could actually stick this in, and like halfway, like Comfortably Numb, halfway through the song, it stops.
Yeah.
You have to get up and hit the next
Remember,
track in order to go.
you'd take a little cardboard, you'd roll up the cardboard, and you'd stick it in there so that it would continue to play.
By the way, I wanted to show this real quick.
Okay.
This is 78. If I drop it, it'll break into a million pieces. It's made of like a lacquer. It's almost like a glass, but it's a 78.
wow.
It's 78. This is the original that came out in 1898, not this particular one. And then, of course, our good friend Taylor Hicks. Compact disc, of course, came out in 1982. The first album, music album on a CD,
I don't know.
was Billy Joel.
Is that right?
Wow.
52nd Street.
I did
How about
not know
that?
So all the different ways you can listen to music, unless, of course, you just have it on your phone, which a lot of people want to do.
My first 8-track, I was a little girl, was ZZ Top Fandango.
Nice! There you go, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
I will say I like the streaming. I use the free streaming, so I don't mind the ads.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to radio where you have commercials, so I don't
Uncle
mind.
Frugal.
And then we had this thing in radio called a cart. It was called a cart. It looked like
I
this,
remember.
but you could put multiple things on. You could put like 10 or 15 different things. It was called a cart machine. And we used to play all of our music off cart because if you played off a 33 long enough, it would start to hiss. It would start to burn. And one of the reasons, obviously, that we went from this lacquer to this vinyl was when you play a needle on this, you can hear it.
Yeah.
It's like putting a needle on glass. You can actually hear it, which is kind of
Well,
romantic.
we'll wrap up with this. Kind of goes to a segment we talked about with you guys earlier about nostalgia. It's playing that album.
Sure is.
So nostalgic. The little pops and cracks. And stuff.
It is. It is.
Good
I love
times. It's great hearing those stories.
Thanks to the Brass Bear,
don't know
by the
anything
way. The
about
Brass
it.
Bear up in Valleydale Road, they let me use some of this.
Oh, that's cool.
Greatly
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you.
the
All
Brass
right.
Bear for
All
letting me out today.
We'll be right back.